I'm live. Hello and welcome, everyone. Um, Kind of a short notice. I didn't really have a chance to announce I was doing this, so we'll give people an opportunity to see we're here. Um, we got nobody out there. This is fantastic. Hello, three people. Hello. I felt like I needed to give an explanation of what's been going on with my life, in particular, my brother. And so here we are. Well, first of all, let me just say thank you to everybody. Things are coming together for shows. We're putting together lots of shows. We got lots of shows. We're going to talk about those. But first of all, let me just address this one issue. My brother Stephen, who if you've been with me for a while, you might have seen videos I've done with Steve and talked about Steve. He's been battling cancer for a long time, many years. In fact, he was at the point he had leukemia, and of course, leukemia. One of the things that they do is they'll go through treatment, and then part of that is to get a bone marrow transplant. I'd gone through the process of being tested to be a donor and had planned to be his donor, but what had happened was during his chemotherapy sessions, he got through about 2 sessions, and it made him so weak that the doctor stopped it and said, "Look, if we keep doing this, you're going to die, and so we're going to kill you sooner than the cancer will if we keep treating you. The treatment's not going to work." And so they basically told him, "You're dead. You're going to be done here in 2 months. Probably go home, get your affairs in order, go home and die." That was December of 2019. So we started planning his funeral. He was there. In fact, he bought his casket, and he's an artist, and he does pinstriping. He started doing pinstriping on race cars back when he was in high school, or even sooner than that. But so he pinstriped his casket. And he painted it to match his wife's motorcycle. She has a Victory motorcycle, and so he painted them to be the same, and then did matching pinstriping. So he's been planning on dying for a while. So he was in hospice care, and we were on death watch. Well, 2 months went to 3 months, and then 4 months, and then 5 months, and then pretty soon a whole year. And he was getting healthier. He was feeling pretty good. In fact, I had the opportunity. Me, him, and my other brother Tracy went on a fly fishing adventure up in Yellowstone, and we've gotten to do quite a few things with him since then. Well, anyway, back and forth, the cancer went away. But then some other cancer. I mean, it's just been one thing after another. Well, anyway, recently he's been getting weaker and weaker. He's just had a myriad of health issues, and finally caught up to him, and he just got weaker and weaker, and on Tuesday he passed away. It's pretty tough. It was tough getting that phone call from my niece. She was the one who found him. She had called me just after they had call him deceased. Pretty sad. But at least he's it's one of those things where you watch them suffer for so long that when they finally go, it's kind of a relief because they're just through so much pain for so long, and to get to go do anything was such a difficult thing, but I'm grateful that I got to spend some pretty good quality time with him. I did a trip with him to Missouri. We went and hung out with our mother and our sisters, and I've worked with him many times. He had a sign painting business, and there were many times I went and helped him with that business. He had a race car. We used to go and hang out with him at races. In fact, he let me drive his race car one weekend. That was big for me because I've always wanted to drive a race car. And but after I got married, I promised my wife I would not race cars because I love racing, but I love my wife more. And plus it's a huge suck of money. It takes all your money and all your time, and I didn't want to. I knew what it takes to race, and I knew that I didn't have the financial. I've never been in a good financial situation enough to go racing cars. Let's just say that. So anyway, he's passed away, and he's in Moab, Utah. They only have one mortuary there, and it's a big retirement community. So there's a lot of death in Moab, and fortunately, because of that, it's going to take a while till we have the funeral. So it's going to be next week that we have the funeral, and I'm grateful because this gives me and the rest of the family an opportunity to make arrangements to be there for it. So it's worked out pretty good. So we're going to be in Moab. His funeral is going to be on the 25th of January, and it's gonna be tough. But now I was concerned it was going to be because sometimes people put them together really quick, and I was concerned that that's what was going to happen because guess what? I got shows going on this weekend. I was worried I was going to have to cancel shows, but fortunately, I don't have to cancel anything. So I'm still doing shows this weekend, and in fact, I'm doing a show tonight, and this is one thing people ask me is how do you deal with it? When you have things like this happen as a comedian, how do you deal with it? Professionally. Well, I honestly say, after my son died back in 2000, he was just a baby when he passed away. I remember just after the funeral, I had a couple shows that I could have just canceled, but I thought, you know what? If I cancel these shows, I'm just going to sit around and feel bad because of the reason I canceled the show, because then I'll just be thinking about it. And to me, I had to get on stage and just keep going, And so I did. I finally just got just got up on stage because if I didn't, I was just going to keep grieving. At some point, you just have to move on. At some point, you're always going to have that grief in you. It's always going to hurt. You're always going to have that with you, but you got to move on. You just got to move on, And so I'm grateful that I actually have some shows to do this weekend. So give me a chance to just sort of, move on. So that's what I'm doing. So that I'm done talking about it. That I don't want to keep bumming you all out. So anyway, but good things are coming. I'm putting together more shows. Like I said, I got my passport, and I am so grateful to everybody up in Canada who's been reaching out to me about doing shows in Canada. I've been contacted by pizza places. I've been contacted by people that have venues. I have one guy that just wants me to come and do a show in his house. He says he can get 40 people there in his house, and we can do a show. So we're going to do a couple shows in his house. We're all putting it together. So I haven't got all the dates figured out yet because we're trying to coordinate it so that we're not crisscrossing all the place try to put together a little tour. But it's going to be in June, July, and August is what we're shooting for. But I'm going to be in Canada this summer. So that's what's going on with Canada. Wherever you are, let me know where you're at. If we can get a handful of people to show up, I'll come and do a show in Canada, wherever you're at in Canada. Little places in the middle of nowhere are my forte. So let's do it. So if you're in Canada, you have a place where you do a show, know somebody who know where we do a show, just anything, or just let me know where you're at so I know where to focus on. So if you're in Canada, let's do it. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're have a good, glorious time. All right. So I've also set up shows. I'm going to be so I'm going to Utah for the funeral next week. So we're going to be in Utah for a couple of weeks, visiting family and various things in Utah. And I'm going to be doing shows in Utah at Wise Guys, the downtown club. But I'm going to be doing the smaller room. There's two. There's the big main show room, and then there's the Rickles room, as it's called. And we're going to be there. We're doing shows at the Wise Guys Rickles room, downtown, February 2nd, 3rd. Tickets are available now. There, you go to wiseguyscomedy.com. The tickets are already available. Please just start buying tickets because I really need to sell those because that's funding me going. That's how we're paid for this is by doing those shows. So you're not going to come, just buy a ticket. I'd appreciate it. But so that's what's going on. So wiseguyscomedy.com, February 2nd and 3rd, Rickles Room. And then the following week, I'm going to be in Texas. I'm going to be in Rockwall, Texas, which is near Dallas, at Smoke Monkey Music Hall. Those tickets are available on my website, rodneynorma.com. The tickets for the Rockwall, it's a Friday night, the 9th, February 9th, Rockwall, Texas, Smoke Monkey. We're doing comedy. It's a great venue. It's a lot of fun. The food is amazing. You're going to have a great time. It's great venue. Just glorious. The staff there is really fantastic. Tim, the guy that runs the place, just really cool. The food is amazing. We're going to have a good time. So if you can make it, that's a great show to go to. Then I'm also going to be at Hyenas on Saturday, the 10th at 10 p.m. in Fort Worth. And then I'm going to be at Hyenas in Dallas on Monday. We were going to do Sunday, but that's Super Bowl Sunday. So we thought that's probably not a good idea. So we're moving that date to the 12th, Monday, the 12th. So Dallas, Monday, the 12th. What else you got to do in Dallas on a Monday? That's what I'm saying. Why not come and see me? That's what we're going to be doing. So and thank you. Thank you for all the kind messages. Red Mute, thank you for joining me. You need to move on, but never let go. That is true. In fact, the other thing I'm doing this weekend. So I'm doing okay. So it's the way life works out. Sometimes it's pretty amazing. So tonight I'm doing a show in West Springfield for my friend Marty Caproni. I'm just closing it. It's a showcase show. There's a lot of comics on the show. I'm just closing it out. So I'm doing like 20 minutes at the end. So that's going to be fun. And then I'm at the Dorchester Brewery in Dorchester, Massachusetts. It's near Boston on Friday night. Should be a lot of fun. And then Saturday, this is pretty interesting. A part of it, it's a panel discussion about depression and anxiety with a panel of comedians. So it's panels that have dealing with depression and anxiety, and I'm like, this is perfect. I can't believe. I mean, I scheduled this back in October to be a part of this thing, and for it to land on this weekend is pretty amazing. And so it'd be kind of a great moment to be able to get up, do a little comedy, and then talk about anxiety and depression, about how to deal with it. And so should be interesting. Hello, Recon, Red Mute, thank you. Thank you very much. Daniel Evans, thank you for joining me. Vancouver Island, yes, Brian Swain. We'll get up there. We'll get out there to Vancouver Island. I think they've had a number of people recommend Vancouver Island, so we'll get it worked out. We'll get it worked out. Pequot, Ohio. Hello from Pequot, Ohio. I've never heard of Pequot. We need to come to Ohio again. Oh, Sandra, wait, this is well, thank you. Yeah, doing a little tribute to my brother. I think I will. He was fun. My brother, growing up, he was just a couple years older than me, and so we were still fairly close in age. Him and my one other brother, and then all four of us were fairly close. And we used to go fishing all the time when I was in high school. I would get out of class on Friday, and he would come pick me up, and we'd head up the canyon, Hubble Creek Canyon in Springville, and we go up there and fish until it was dark. But he would do that, when school first started until it started getting too dark. But we'd go like almost every weekend when I didn't have a game. We'd go during the spring. I played football in high school, so it was just. But we used to go fishing all the time together. So me, him, my other two brothers, camping and fishing, and then building race cars and racing cars. A lot of good memories. So we were very close, and I will say this too. He married a pretty amazing woman. I got to tell you about her. Through all of what he's gone through, his wife Tammy, and she runs a barbershop in Moab called Legends. And she really has, it's through her shop that she's been able to maintain and take care of Stephen through all of this. And she's been, the things that woman has had to go through with dealing with Stephen's issues, she's an absolute saint. So my heart just goes out to her, and I in some ways I'm kind of relieved for her, because she's been just having to deal with his pain and his issues for so long, and being so close to death, and constantly going back and forth to the hospital and hospice care, and keeping up with his keeping up with his issues. She was really amazing. Oh, and yeah, he was an artist. He was a brilliant artist. Like he did these paintings when we were in high school that won so many awards. And it was the amazing thing, we didn't have a lot of money. We were pretty poor. I mean, we had a bunch of kids in our family, and our dad was a diesel mechanic, and um, didn't have a lot of money. We were not wealthy beyond in by any stretch of imagination. And for him to get art supplies, he actually would use the Crayola watercolors, just the ones you can get. They're little cheap watercolors, for grade school kids. That's what he would do his artwork with, because that's all he could get. That's all he could afford. When we went to this, he went to Timpview High School. I went with him for a couple of years there. Timpview High School in Provo, if you're not aware, that's the high school all the rich kids go. It's there in the hills is like where the Osmonds live, and all those rich hoity-toity people of Utah. That's where they live. And that was the school they went to. So it was all, I mean, we had kids that would drive to school in Maseratis and Ferraris, and this is back in the 80s. And there were a couple of kids that were taken to school in with a chauffeur, by a chauffeur. I mean, it was, I went and hung out at the home of Eric. Anyway, his father was the Larson, Eric Larson. His father was the guy who created Battlestar Galactica and a bunch of other TV shows. Glenn A. Larson. He lived there, and Eric was a cool dude, by the way. Got to say that. But anyway, so it was really rich people. So he was going to art classes with these people who were getting art supplies from France and all this stuff. And here he is outdoing them all with this little set that he got from, hey, thank you, Dave. Dave Messenger, thank you very much for the super sticker. I appreciate that to no end. Thank you very much. And those of you who are on the YouTube, you can. They have this thing where you do super chats or super stickers, where basically you give me money is what it is, and that's what Dave's did. Dave's donated money to my cause, and I appreciate it, because I could really use the help. So thank you, thank you very much for that. But anyway, so he was a brilliant artist, and he had a sign painting business through most of his adult life. He worked for different sign companies, and then he had his own business. And in fact, if you drive through Moab, Utah, at least half of the signage that you see there was created by my brother Stephen. I mean, his artwork, his work is everywhere. There is a, when you enter town, towns have their big message, a big thing. Hey, welcome to so and so. They had this one in the middle of town that it was a welcome to Moab thing, and it was falling apart, and it was junk. And so he went to the city and said, "Hey, why don't we fix this?" And they're like, "Well, we don't have the money to fix it." He goes, "Oh, I don't need the money. I just want to fix it. I just want to make it better." And so he donated a lot of his own, donated his own time, and then some other people throughout town donated the materials and everything. And so he built this brand new "Welcome to Moab" sign that is just absolutely gorgeous. So if you're ever in Moab, Utah, and you're driving into town, it says if you're driving south into town, and it's just before. Let's see if I remember exactly what it's near. I'll have to get the exact thing. I know it's near. There's a grocery store, and it's like it's the one near the grocery store, and it's a big sign, and it just says "Welcome to Moab," and it's just really gorgeous. Anyway, he made that as a gift to the city of Moab. Basically, he donated his time. He built this thing, and it's just really spectacular. So if you ever go to Moab, Utah, get a picture next to that sign, and just think of my brother Stephen, because he was. So far, I was looking forward to having you on my show on the 24th in New Bern. Oh, thank you. Is this Moose? It's supposed to be Moose. Yeah, it's going to be fun. The 24th, we're going to be doing a show in New Britain, Connecticut. Love my friend, love my buddy Bruce. Very fine gentleman. Considered an honor to know Moose, my friend. Pop in and give my condolences. Never easy. And there's nothing I can say to make it better, but my thoughts are with you. Thanks for everything you do. I wish I could help out. Thank you. I will say this. I think you bring up a good point, Randy, and thank you for your message. Thank you, because I will tell you right now, you have no idea when you're going through grief and when you're having a bad time. People are always worried about what to say to you. There isn't anything that you can say. There isn't anything that can be said. But what's important is just knowing that you care, that you're there, that you're willing to listen if someone needs to speak. I mean, people who are going through a hard time, a lot of times they don't need to hear something. If anything, they just need to know that they're being heard. Just being there and saying, "Hey, man, I'm here for you. I feel your pain. I feel bad for what you're going through, and I care about you." That's what they need to hear. And so just saying, "I care about you," even if it's just for a moment, even if it's just for a second of your time where you offer up a little prayer in your mind, or actually kneel down and pray, or just think about them. Just having that moment of just saying, "Look, I really feel bad for you, and I care about you." That's all you need to say. Just say, "I care about you." Oh, look at this! Thank you. More donations. Thank you, Recon, for World War II. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Again, I can't thank you enough, because this really kind of hit at a time where Christmas last year we did really well on sales. Our calendar did really well, and it was off the charts. Last Christmas, our sales were just absolutely out of this world. This year, not so much. Very slow. We still had a lot of activity, but nowhere near what we had the year before. And so it was kind of set us back a little bit. And then to have have to go to Utah. So that's why I've been trying to add as many shows as I can, because that's how I'm making my money, is doing shows. So I need to get on the road more. So thank you. Every little bit helps. I really thank you. You have no idea how much this really helps me. So thank you. Thank you. I see. Thank you. I see your what you've been through. Yeah, losing family, especially close family, brothers, sisters, your own children, mothers, fathers. I mean, it's really hard. I can tell from my mother. I was the one that ended up calling my mom to tell her about my brother, and that was hard, because she went through it to some degree when my son died. Being a grandparent and watching a grandchild die, not an easy thing. And then I have an older brother who died before I was born. He was a half brother, but she had raised them, because it was tough telling my mom, "Hey, your oldest boy just died." Not an easy thing. Uh, Tim, oh my goodness. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. This appreciate this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Detroit. Hey, we're trying to get to Detroit. I think we got a couple places we're trying to set shows up there in that area. So we'll be coming there and doing shows. And then, look, I didn't want to bum you all out. I just felt, I didn't, I didn't want to be one of, I didn't want to do a whole thing on Facebook and go too nuts. You know what I mean? So I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to share the message about my brother with everyone. And I went through different ideas, things about what to say or what to do. And finally, I remembered that we had made this video back when we had gone on our fishing trip, and when we came back, we were in Moab, and the three of us, and I had a camera, and I was like, look, we're all here. Let's just sit down and record. We didn't have a plan of what we were to talk about. We were just going to talk. That was it. It was just the three of us. I wish my brother Michael had been able to be there. Would have been really cool to have all four of us there, but with just the three, we thought, well, let's just record. And so it was a chance for me to just sit down with my two brothers and two older brothers and talk about life and things that we've been through and various experiences. And I'm so grateful. I mean, it wasn't the best audio. It wasn't the best video ever. But it's something that I will cherish for the rest of my. I'm so grateful that I got to have that video, that we made it, that we just did it. And so I would encourage you, all of you out there, because we all have access to it now. We can do this. If there's somebody in your life that, and well, even if they're not sick or old or whatever, but there's people in your life that you want to remember, and you want to hear some stories that they haven't told you, and it's such a great thing to just sit down with a camera and just start asking questions. I did this with my mother a few years ago, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to sit down and talk to her some more, especially after this experience. But I sat with her and we talked about my dad, because he passed away when I was 28. He passed back in '96. In fact, here's something that I'm dealing with. My father passed away when he was 54 years old from heart failure, as a complication from diabetes. And I'm now 54 years old. And the death hangs over my head. And then to have Stephen pass away now, it's a weird thing. So so what I'm saying is, look, if you're thinking about doing that, thinking about sitting down with somebody in your family and just recording their stories, and you keep thinking, well, I'll do that sometime. Don't wait. Just do it. I'm so grateful. Look, after that, the three of us were never together again at the same time. So I'm grateful that when we did have that opportunity, we did it. And we were all tired. It was late one night, but I was just like, look, we're here. Let's just do this. I'm so grateful I did. So if you're out there and you're thinking you have somebody in your life that you want to record and share their stories and remember them through that, just do it. Just call them up, whether it's your mother, your father, a grandparent, an uncle, an aunt, a friend, just anyone. If there's someone out there that you want to remember, man, just call them and say, man, I want to come over and talk to you about your life and just record some stories. Thank you, Jacob Wilson. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you. So I'm grateful that I took that opportunity, because, like I said, it's not the greatest video in the world, but to me, it's priceless, because I we got to talk about things we talked about ever, things that we went through, experiences that we went through together. And it was fun and interesting hearing their side of the story, hearing their perspective of what took place. And we talk about there was a house fire that we were in. When my one brother broke his leg. I mean, just there's a lot of interesting stories that I want to share with other people. Um, oh, what happened, Barbara? Thank you for joining me, Barbara. But we're talking about my brother. My brother Stephen, I've talked about him before, but he passed away a few days ago in Moab, Utah. Complications from just years of just really bad health, all kinds of issues, heart issues, cancer. Just he was on a cocktail of all kinds of interesting drugs, and he's not had a very healthy life, and it was sad. It was sad, but I'm like I said on YouTube. I have this video. I posted it on Facebook, and it's what I use to just tell people, look, he's passed away, because there was a lot of you who watched the video when I first released it and were interested in his journey. I think I did some other videos with him too, but it was tough. It was tough. But I'm telling you, you have the technology. You just use your phone. You don't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be perfect audio. It doesn't need perfect lighting. But if you have somebody in your family that you want to capture their stories, you want to capture their memories and share them with the world, just do it. Just do it. Don't take them for granted. You never know what's going to be. I mean, we thought that he was in the clear because he had been doing pretty well. In fact, most of the cancer, he'd gone back for one issue, and they had told him the original cancer that they said was spreading through his body and was going to kill him. It was gone within a year. Kind of freaked everybody out because he's just like, what? And they're like, well, he's got this little growth, and he's like, no, what about the other cancer? No, it's gone. It was crazy. Well, he's been pronounced dead a couple times. So when the house fire that I talk about, he was pronounced dead. He was dead. He was gone. When they finally pulled him and my other brother out of the house, they brought Life Flight in to carry him out. And if you want to hear the story, it's on that video. But they thought he was goner. And then my mother was in the ambulance listening to them talk about it. She just started praying please save my son and just as she ended her prayer, they said, he's back. I can't believe it. He's back. And so they were able to switch him on and put him on the Life Flight and got him out of there, because Tracy was stable. But they thought, if we got a helicopter here, let's take the boy that's going to survive. And then when just at the moment that needed to be make that decision, that's when Stephen popped back up, and they were like, oh, he's alive. And then there was another time where we were at a church function. We were tubing up at Squaw Peak in Utah County, if you're familiar. It's a mountain, and he was coming down on a tube, and there was a whole bunch of people on it. That tube went over the side of a hill and down, and he hit a tree, and it bursted his spleen, and they had to carry him up and then go. I had to ride with him in the back of this truck because we got him down the hill, because there was no way the emergency vehicles could get up there because of the snow. And so I had to drive him down and take him to the hospital. The ambulance met us at the bottom of the hill, if I remember this correctly. So anyway, get him to the ambulance, get him there. And in the hospital, he passed away twice. and then came back. So he's had more near death experiences than anyone I've ever known. Um, but he's a fighter. But anyway, he finally got to him, and pretty. It's weird. I got to talk to my sister-in-law yesterday because we've been pretty close through everything, especially a number of issues and different things that I've been through with both of them. Um, and it was interesting here when she called me to tell me about because when I found out about everything, I didn't want to call her immediately because I knew she was going to be flooded with phone calls, and she was. And she didn't really want to talk to anybody. She just needed to just kind of process it on her own. And so she called me yesterday, just to let me know what was going on, give me details about the funeral and what they want me to do as part of the funeral. And I'm grateful I get to be a part of it. But we were just talking, uh, and it was interesting just kind of hearing her. You could tell that she's processed all of this, but she's been expecting him to die for so long. I mean, it still hits you hard when it happens, but it was good to hear in her voice just sort of a kind of a relief because she had to watch him die for years. Here was this very talented, very vibrant guy who just little by little, all that energy was taken. He would have days that he just weeks that he couldn't do anything. And then he would have these spurts of energy and want to do everything. And then he would overdo it. And she was through it all. She's been over and over. And so many times that they've taken him to the hospital, they thought he was going to be done then. And just the emotional roller coaster that she's been on. You could kind of hear this I could sense this sort of relief that she doesn't have to deal with the pain and to watch him go through that anymore, to just finally be at peace. But yeah, and I think that was the whole thing. It's like you just watch him because it was hard for me, and I wasn't with him all the time. I would just have moments, or I would talk to him on the phone, or just when we get a chance to visit, and I could see how. And I had this week where we drove together, took him to Missouri to hang out with my mom and my sister. My sister had a restaurant that she was starting up, and so we went there. He came with me to do signage for her business and just sort of hang out, just as an opportunity to just kind of hang out with my mom, really. And so I got to hang out with him for that week and just seeing what you know the mood swings that he would go through because of his medication and just dealing with him. I could see how that could become just a, a drain on you because he's a very you know very independent, wants to do his own thing, but it's like he can't be alone because the littlest thing could be a problem. And so just in that week that I spent with him, I could see what my sister-in-law was going through for years. And wow. Um, uh, it was so yeah, I think listening to her, um I think to some degree it was just kind of, it's a relief when you just finally see them just finally be done with all the pain and the mental fog and just everything. It was still sad to deal with, but anyway, I didn't mean to bum you all out, but anyway, so life continues, life goes on. I'm going, like I said, I'll be in Utah next week for the funeral, and then we're hanging out there for another week. I'm doing shows at Wise Guys downtown, February 2nd, 3rd. Um, if you love for you, if you're in Utah, um, love for you to just come and hang out, man. Come and hang out. I'm going to be doing shows, couple shows. If you're in Utah, I'm going to be there for a couple weeks. So if you want to get together, and here's the deal: if you want to, people keep telling me, "Hey, I want to hang out with you." You can, and not just by coming to a show. Coming to a show, paying for a ticket, coming to the show and hanging out. That's awesome. Thank you. But if you want to just go get some lunch sometime, you want to just hang out, and I'm around, and we can do it. I am happy to hang out with people and just have a good time. Talk live. Talk. In fact, if you want, I'll interview for part of my podcast. I have been trying to get my podcast off the ground, and I need to do it. So if you want to be a part of my podcast, you want to be a part. I want to interview. A lot of times you do these podcasts, you interview famous people. That's the goal. That's the goal. I want to interview. I want to interview people like you guys. I want to interview people. I want to hear your stories because you guys have great stories. You have experiences. I want to share your stories and your experiences with other people. So if you want to be a part of my podcast, if you want to be a part of what I'm doing, contact me. And if I'm in the area and we can work it out, I want to come. I want to interview you. I want to talk to you. I want to share your story with the world. But I will be, and I'm traveling the world now. I'm going to be. I got my passport, so I can start doing other places. But I just want to hear. I just want to hear your stories. And here's my friend Steve Carr. Thank you, Steve, for your donation. I thank you. I appreciate you. This to no end. Everybody else, look, if you're not on, so if you're on YouTube, you can do these super chat things where you can just send me money, right? Which is pretty cool. This is awesome. This sort of thing helps so much. But the rest of you can't do it through the other areas. You can go to my website right there, rodneynorman.com, and you can go to rodneynorman.com right there. There it is. rodneynorman.com. And the tour dates, where I'm going to be, that's all listed there. You can also contact me. You can send me a message if you have shows you want me to do where you're at, or you just want to send me a message. And I love it, and I love hearing from you. You can send a message through that. I also have merch. If you want to buy merch, we got the calendar, the calendars. I have a lot of calendars. We probably overdid it on the calendars this year. We bought more. We thought we were going to do better on the calendar. We did okay on the calendars. But anyway, so we have the calendars for this year. They're there, and I like. I'll sign it. This is when I screwed up. Somebody asked me for an inscription, so I started writing and I started being happy, but the actual inscription was supposed to be happy, and so I screwed it up, so I had to start over. So this was one I messed up. I'll think of something to turn that into, and I'll send that out to somebody. But yeah. Yes, Steve, absolutely. Steve, I'm going to be, like I said, we're going to get there. I'm headed to Moab. We're leaving for Moab probably Sunday or Monday. The funeral's on Thursday. But we'll be hanging out in Utah for that full next week. And then I'll be doing a show the 2nd and 3rd at Wise Guys. And then the week after that, we'll be there for a couple days, but then we're headed to Dallas, headed to Texas to do shows in Texas that next weekend. So well, thank you, Hobo Thomas. Michigan, yeah, I'll be getting to Michigan. Danae Thomas, thank you. Or fight. Danae Thomas fight. Is that right? Thomas fight? That's a cool name. Fight. I like that. Loves the calendar. Kansas, yes, I'll be doing Kansas. We'll be doing Kansas. I love Kansas. I know people in Kansas. My good friend Drew lives in Kansas. I met Drew. He's one of the first guys. Drew Kuchera. He's one of the first guys when I started. When people started noticing me. I was driving through because like I said, my mother lives in Missouri, and I also have lots of family in Utah. And typically, what I would do is I'd go through whenever I had to make my cross the country. I'd stop in Missouri and hang out with my mom for a few days, for a little bit, and then drive across Kansas and stuff, and then Colorado and down into Moab and go see my brother Steven, and then go back up into the rest of Utah to see the rest of the family up in Salt Lake, Provo area. And so I'm driving through Kansas, and one day he's following me. He knows where I'm at. So he's like, look, I'm in Kansas. Why don't you stop in? And so he's in Wamego, Kansas. So I was like, okay. In fact, it was the trip that I went back to Missouri with Steven, with my brother Steven. So Steven was with me. So as we're driving back through Kansas, we stopped and hung out and met Drew, and we hung out. We went and had dinner, and I've gotten to know Drew over the years. And every once in a while, when I get a chance, if I'm passing through Kansas, I stop and see Drew. And love to do the same with a lot of you. I'd love to hang out with you. So, like I said, if you're where I'm going to be, contact me through the website is the best thing to do. And let me know, and we'll get together. So, like I said, I'm in Utah. Next, I'm driving across country this week. We're leaving Sunday. We're driving straight through. We're probably going to make a couple stops. I met you in Urbana. Oh, yes. Urbana, if you ever get back this way, we can do lunch. That would be fantastic. I want to go back to Urbana. That was a fun show. That we're going to go back. We're going to go back. Definitely, we're going to be coming back there. What's this? Come to Saline, Ohio in July for their Lake Fest. Hook you up with the rides in several different amphibious vehicles. Oh, that sounds like fun. Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Hey, send me a message through the website, through rodneynorman.com. Send me a message. Give me the details. Give me dates and location. And that sounds like a lot of fun. I would love to do that. And here's my thing. I want to do adventures. If you got some adventure you want to take me on, let me know. And if we can work it out, we'll film the whole thing. We'll do a podcast about it. We'll interview you. We'll do fun stuff. We'll make some videos. We'll have a good time. So those Instagram posts are real. Everything's real. It's all real. It's all real, baby. Real fun. I did this thing yesterday, and I'm embarrassed to admit it. So I saw this thing. It was be a model, be a model, and send us a few pictures. And if we like you, we're gonna have you come in and audition to be a model. So I'm like, oh, okay, why not? Another stream of revenue. Why not? I got to look. I got to look. I can be a model. I've lost some weight. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. So I went to this thing in Boston, and I had to bring 4 outfits, and when I go in and I do the thing, I do the pictures. They do up my hair and makeup. They pull my hair back, so they don't have. So my hair's back like this. One where they put my hair up in a bun. Anyway, so we took pictures, and they're like, okay, I guess. Well, usually you do one of these things. They take some pictures, and then you leave, and then they call you back 3 days later and say, no, you're too old, too white, too weird looking. We can't use you. If they even call at all, to be honest with you. Well, this one, they're like, oh, we really need you to stay here and meet with our agent. I was like, okay. So I go in, I finally get in there, and she's really, really nice. And she's going on about how great looks and unique talent that I can tell a story through my pictures. I'm like, okay, just tell me everything you want to hear. And it turns out to be a big sales job, because what it is they get all these pictures, and they say, okay, now we're going to do this package. We're going to build you. She's telling me all these things they're going to do. We're going to build a website. We're going to put you out there, and you're going to get all this great work. Well, I'm like, okay, fantastic. Then it's like, oh, by the way, it's going to cost you $8,000. So it's just a sales job. They make you think it's an agent. I should have known better. I'm embarrassed that I fell for it, to be honest with you. I'm embarrassed that I fell for it. I need an agent. I want an agent. I've kind of had one in Utah, but I'm not in Utah anymore, so it's hard to really be active with that agency when I'm not there. So I need an agent. Get my comedy career. I might actually have a comedy career if I had an agent, instead of just booking pizza shops in Ontario, which I love, by the way. But if I had an agent, this is my thing. If I had an agent, I know I'd get more work. I could get some legitimate stuff, but I don't have an agent, and every attempt I've made to try to get in with an agency has not worked out. So I thought maybe this was going to happen. Then my heart sunk when she handed me the sheet. Oh, this package will do this for you, and so it's like, you're not getting me any work. You're just taking pictures so I have a portfolio, which I already have a portfolio. I don't need another portfolio. And for $8,000, look, I can get some really great photographers to come and take pictures of just me for several hours, in hundreds of different, and for like $1,000, I could get an incredible portfolio. And here they're paying me, wanting me to pay $8,000 for. It was. I mean, look, the pictures are great. The makeup artist was fantastic. I had no complaints about. The pictures look great. I got no complaints about it. But it was sort of a gut punch to just the day after finding out my brother, and then I go to this thing, which I had scheduled a couple weeks ago. Thought it would open me up to possibilities. And then it turned out it's just a big flim flam sales job, because they don't actually get you any work. What it is they found a way to trick you into getting a portfolio done. Because what they used to do is they would go, the game they used to play is they would have you come in for a consultation about being a model. And then they would tell you that you're perfect, that you're exactly what they're looking for. You got wonderful high cheekbone structure and beautiful eyes and body ratios. The industry's looking for people like you. You're so different and unique. You're going to have more opportunities than others would have because you're such. Tell you all that, and then they say, so in order for you to get this work, you need a portfolio, and then they put it out. Say here, right? So you don't have anything, but now they want you to give money. Then they'll build your portfolio. So this way they trick you into just leaping into that part of getting the pictures done. So you've already made the commitment. You've already said yes to that. And then when you're there, that's when they drop it on you. Oh, by the way, And I'm like, look, I'm not doing this. I'm not. First of all, I don't have $8,000 to give to you to take pictures and build a website. You can go on and you can use AI and build a website. I don't need to pay you $8,000 to build a website and put pictures on it. It was just sort of a letdown. It was a bummer. So if you're out there and you see this thing, they say, hey, we want you to come and do this, don't fall for it. If they're not a real agency, don't waste your time, because all they're doing is just, and look, they probably have some benefit to people if you have the money, and they probably do help people get work. I don't know, but it's not what I was looking for. It's not what I was hoping to be into, and I didn't have the money anyway. And if I did have that kind of money, I would have just gotten a professional photographer to do it anyway, which I've done. I've got some great photos. I have some great people who have taken pictures of me just because they like me. So I don't really need it. You know what I mean? Anyway, you're always welcome in Oregon. Yes, I am working on Oregon. We're going back to World Pies. Absolutely. Talked to Synergize Auto last week. Yes, I know it's a weird venue, but they hey, go be weird. Love to see you in Utah next month. I'm saving my pennies for a trip east, maybe North Carolina. Awesome. Yeah, Synergize Auto is so fun. That was a fun show. So here's he was talking about. I did Oregon last year, and we did a show at World Pies in Eugene, Oregon, and while I was there, a good friend of mine who lives there in Oregon is also friends with this the owners of Synergize Auto up in Dallas, Oregon. I didn't know there was one there either, but there is. So there's this Dallas, Oregon, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come up here and do a show at the car dealership?" So we did. We went up there. They cleared out the showroom, and we've got about 50 people in there. We did a show, and it was a lot of fun. So they're a cool dealership. They're really cool, real great people. I did a couple of videos for them just for the fun of it. Little promo videos, if you've seen those, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, we're coming back to Oregon. I probably March is what I'm thinking, for about 2 weeks in March. I'm trying to put together the whole thing. I've talked to World Pies. It's going to happen. We're just going to lock in the dates and then set up a couple other things, possibly in Bend, in Portland, and then maybe venture up into the Washington State and do some shows up there. So that's in the works. So March, World Pies, it's going to happen. We're going to be happen. So thank you. Make and me went on adventures at different times. Ended up in jail. Rocket Man, yes, I would love to go hang out with that dude. I have so many people tag me on his videos. I would love to go do what he does because I totally dig that dude. If I had the money, I and the space to do it, I would do that kind of stuff. Trust me, I dig it. I dig what he's doing. Ozzy, thank you from the Catskills. Thank you. We're trying to get up there too. Absolutely. If you ever come to Lithuania, oh, that would be fun. I could do that. I could do Lithuania. Awesome. Uh, what, what is this? Okay. We're all sharing our global story now. Don't feel bad. I feel for the con. You draw this contest. The TV guy, I drew the beer, sent it in, and they called a month or so later saying I won the contest and they were going to send me to art school for only $65 a month. That was back in the mid 80s. I remember that one. I remember the one that I used to see all the time was the turtle, the cartoon turtle. That's funny. Yeah, it was a bait and hook. That's exactly what it was. It was a, so they go in and make you feel. They bring 4 outfits, and they said they have makeup and everything. And then there's a very professional. It was all very professional. I mean, I have nothing against everybody was very kind, very professional. It was run really well. It was kind of ran over longer than I had planned, but part of that was my own fault because I was late getting there because of parking issues. But no, it was like I said, it was great. They were fine, but yeah, it was not what they led me to believe. And I went through it. I read the emails a little more. I think once I went through the experience, then going back and reading the email, I see that there were flags there. They were letting you know the deal was, but they weren't blatantly telling you what the issue, what was happening, but they alluded to it. But they really pushed the idea that this was an audition for an agent to get to be into the business, and so that's the way you're thinking is that, oh, okay, I go, so you're auditioning, so you feel like, oh, I got to go there and impress them, so you want to be told yes, that you're, and that's what they tell you is they tell you yes, oh, by the way, now give me $6,000 or whatever it was. So yeah, it was a bit of a it was a bummer. It was just, I think just the timing of it was probably what got me the most bummed out because I was kind of looking forward to this. Sort of cheer me up a little bit, just give me having something to do to kind of get out of the funk of what was going on with my brother. And then for it to be just a big sales job, the little kind of a bait and switch thing. It was a bummer. What's this? We have a few places here. You could do a show on the place at Crystal Lake. Oh, Crystal Gale. Love Crystal Gale. That's done a show. Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Like I said, contact me through the website, rodneynorman.com. You can send a message. Tell me what your idea is, where you're at. That's the thing is, tell me where you're at. I don't know where you're at, so I can't. Tell me where the location is as much as you can. Tell me what your thought is, what you think we can do, and we'll put it together. Because that's almost all my shows are just you guys, my fans, setting things up for me. So let's keep it going. If you want to be a part of what I'm doing, join me. Just say, hey, I'll help promote a show. I'll whatever, anything, everything. I just love it. This is kind of you. I just love you. If I hadn't found you, I don't know what would have happened to me. Well, thank you. Thank you. I think that's, you guys have been as big a help to me as anything I could have possibly have done for you. Just your kindness, your support. messages, the kind words, just liking videos, just sharing the videos, all of this. Just I can't thank you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So. Oh yes, yo, main girl, we're going to do a thing together. Uh, we're going to do a thing together on Saturday, so that's going to be fun. We're going to be chatting it up, doing a little during her podcast. So be looking for that. Edinburgh Fringe. I've been told about this so many times. You should come to the Edinburgh Festival. That would be fun. Love to see a stand-up comedy show with you. You know what? I need to contact them. I think I will see what I can do. The Edinburgh Festival is unique because what it is you go there for a whole month, and they set you up in one venue, and you have to promote your own shows. So yeah, you have to kind of bankroll the whole thing yourself. But it's a great opportunity because there's people who will just go to whatever shows are there and everything. So I would love to do that festival. I've had friends who have done it, and it's very unique. And so definitely going to try it. Okay, thank you. Hell, Michigan, come visit today. I will come and visit Hell. I'd love to come hang out in Hell. I want to come to Hell with you. I want to go to Hell. Absolutely. I was always told when I was young that I should have been a comedian. I always have to tell them I was born with this face. Well, it's never too late. Never too late. You know, Rodney Dangerfield didn't have any success until he was in his 50s. That's when he really took off as a comic. Before that, he was a siding salesman. He had done comedy and then got out of the business to selling siding. And then finally in his 50s, he gave it another shot, and that's when he took off. So it's never too late. Never too late, my friends. Anyway, I have things to do. I said I'm doing a show tonight in West Springfield at the Loft. If you're in that area, come out and hang out with me. Edinburgh is, yeah, Irish. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, my apologies. No, I'm Scottish, but I don't mind hanging out with the Irish. I think you guys are just fine. I'm Scots, Scottish. Which I understand the Scottish are considered basically the white trash of the UK. I get it. But this makes me feel better about it. Anyway, the place I was talking in Newcastle, Indiana, was at the Bunyan Auditorium. Okay. Well, thank you, Dennis. I'll check into it. Anyway, once again, you guys have been wonderful. Thank you for hanging out with me. This was short notice. I really wasn't planning on doing this, but I got here and I haven't really talked about my brother. I wanted to share with you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Milo. Thank you, Rob. Rob, good. Thank you. Said I've mental health issues, big part of my life. I haven't personally had to deal with it personally, but I've had to deal with it within my family, and I've seen all of that. I mean, look, to understand my family history, you need to have a working knowledge of the DSM-5. That's all I'm saying. So I've been through it all, and I've seen family members go through it. I've seen addiction issues. My grandfather was an alcoholic. I've seen just lots of issues in my family, and so I just love helping people any way I can. So you guys have been fantastic, but I do need to go. Thank you, Dennis. You have an awesome freaking day. You too. All of you have a super freaking awesome day. Once again, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for listening to my vent a little bit about my brother. It was good to talk about him. I'll probably talk about him more. Thank you all, everybody who's donated some money. Thank you for going to my website and supporting me there. I really, I'm just grateful to all of you. You guys are amazing. And I'm going to continue to bring you, as I like to say, poorly planned and poorly executed videos more and more, because I got nothing else to do. Nobody wants to pay me to do much of anything else. So here I am, continuing the good fight. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for joining me. You guys have been fantastic. Have a super freaking awesome day. And okay, bye.